Who knows? We don't know what the conditions are going to be, but it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. We don't know if it's going to be in our generation or the next. But our responsibility is to do what? To pass it on to our Yeladim, to endure while we're waiting, keeping the faith, passing it to the next generation. I mean, that's what happened with us, right? All of a sudden, we woke up. The light came on. Baruch Hashem Yahuah for that. He called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. Hallelujah. Well, that's okay. There you go. All right. The Pesach memorial, unleavened bread, and you. Right? This is a focus about, this is not just about a lamb, but it is a lamb. And it's not just about unleavened bread. It's about unleavening, though. You know, and where do you fit in all this? We're doing this year after year after year after year. It shouldn't just become, you know, same old every year. Oh, it's time for Pesach. It's time for unleavened bread. It's time for Shavuot. It's time for, you know, and you just get into a rut and a cycle, and you're never really applying the lessons that we need to be learning while we're growing or going. He says, this is a merciful, right? His we say this thing that Yahuah is, oh, he's taking, no, he's long suffering. All right. It's long suffering, giving us a chance, each and every one of us, every day that we wake up on this side of the terra firma. Like when he called us out of that darkness and we said yes to his covenant and we started walking with him, he's giving us a chance. We didn't wake up walking in righteousness. We didn't even know what his law was or what it meant. We loved our shrimp and crawfish and crabs and rabbit. You know what I'm saying? We loved our swine. It almost broke our heart. Shed a tear, some people. Took them a year or two to let it go. Some people told cold turkey, but there was other things. You know, dietary might have been a little bit easy, but sometimes the other little things that were harder to let go of. There's some things we need to consider, you know, because I've been doing this a little bit now. And I've been listening to my teacher for a long time, and I've been pulling this information in. So I hope I say something this afternoon as we're going towards the hour, the time. The lamb is prepared. The bitter herbs are ready. And now we're in one place. We're in one place. Our Mashiach, our Passover, has been sacrificed for us, and the blood is on the lintels of our hearts. And we're waiting for that deliverance. So we're protected right now. Right? Protected. Well, you can walk out the door if you want to. You don't have to stay inside. All right, let's go. All right, what is your relationship with the memorial of Pesach? That's what I want you to consider. All right, initially it's just keeping the commandment, right? I'm just going to, that's why he did the whole thing on that. I'm just going to highlight some things. Observe the month of Abib and keep the Pesach to Yahuah Eloheka. From the month of Abib, Yahuah Eloheka brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim or Egypt by night, and you shall offer the Pesach sacrifice of Yahuah Eloheka from the flock or the herd at the place that Yahuah will choose to make his name dwell there. Right now, we're in captivity. They were in captivity. He has allowed us to be dwellings. He's a dwelling for us. And then he says, you shall eat no unleavened bread. Within it 7 days, you shall not eat it with, you shall eat it with unleavened bread, the bread of affliction. Why is it called the bread of affliction? I'll just hold that in your thoughts. We'll keep it going. For you came out of the land of Mitzrayim in haste. We came out in haste, right? After the midnight cry, we'd been there for a while now. The sun went down, 6 hours passed, midnight then came, then the cry went out, And then he said, y'all got to get out of here, right? And then Moses, all right, hey, go to the houses and spoil it, ask your neighbors or whatever. And they had to grab everybody and leave. And they didn't just leave by themselves, but everybody who had faith and believed, they left, right? So in all the days of your life, you may remember that the day when Yahuah came out, when you came out of the land of Israel. And this is why we're doing this. So you don't forget what we're doing right now, right? So we already know the basic elements of Pesach, and that's why I was glad he did on that. Basic elements of Pesach. I'm not going to sit here and ask questions he's already asked. But year by year, as we do this observance, we should start to notice key elements to this gateway memorial. This is the first one, right, that kicks off the season, right? We should be knowing the key elements, things that are required. So when somebody, you need to know this, your Yeladim need to know this, and when somebody asks you, it shouldn't be like, oh, let me see, right? What is required in order to observe Pesach? And that one I will leave out there. You answered earlier. Specifically, you did. You remember? You answered it. What is it? Say again? Circumcision. But say what is required in order to observe Pesach?
You must be part of the covenant.
You must be a part of the covenant. Circumcision. You have to be a part of the covenant agreement. You have to agree with Yahuah. You can't do this and you're not in agreement with Yahuah. That's basics, 101. It's not just, hey, come on over, we're having a feast. You can come. You know, my friend, my cousin, my auntie's in town. All my relatives, come on over. Huh? And they don't agree nothing what you believe. They don't believe nothing that Yahuah says. All right? All right, Yahuah's Pesach. Like I said, I'm just highlighting things. Exodus 12, 43, 49. And Yahuah said to Moses and Aaron, this is a statute of Pesach. No foreigners shall eat of it. Those people of the other nations, right? They can't do it. Every, right? So what is that word? Servant, right? Servant. That's important because it covers a lot of people, right? That is bought for money may eat of it after you have circumcised him. So now we know he's talking about the males only, right? No foreigner or hired worker may eat of it. Nobody just can be standing out there, oh man, you've been doing a good job. Come on, we're about to sit down to dinner. Come on, eat. No, can't do that. Somebody ask you? No, you're not a part. This is family only. It shall be eaten in one house. Here we are today, right? You shall not take any of the flesh outside that house. When you ever eat, you eat it here. Ain't no to-go plates. Oh, let me get some of this lamb to go. Yeah, I'm gonna. You can eat it right here. And whatever you don't eat, what happens, brother? You burn it. All right. All right. It says, and you shall not break any of his bones. And I know them brothers took care that the bones were not broken. All right. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. How much of Israel? Some of Israel? All. Now, what's the unique thing about Pesach, about all the other feasts? The one unique thing. One unique thing about Pesach above all the other feasts that we keep. Got a microphone? Need a microphone back here. Along you who? What you got?
It's the only one where you get a second chance.
Oh, it's the only one where you get a second chance. Huh? Oh, I missed it this year. Don't worry. What is the date? Anybody? Second month when? 14th day. You get another opportunity to get it right. You're going to see some parallels in this if you keep looking. Did he never give another opportunity? This generation here. That generation failed, you get another opportunity to get this correct. Every time you mess up and you recognize your error and you correct yourself, another chance. I was unclean this year. I couldn't keep it. And I went and got myself right. And And then I was able to keep it. I was able to clean myself up. I was handling some dead things. You know, we just look at it as bones, right? You're handling past relationships and past hurts and past trauma, things and got, you come in here with a bad attitude. You done got in a fight and you talking about you gonna keep the pace up? Huh? You just cuss somebody out from one end of and it's on your mind because them are dirty. At least you felt that you're dirty. You're handling dead things with your family and friends. No, it's just time to just let that go right now. No, Pesach coming up. Let's squash this for right now. All right. You say, if a stranger shall sojourn with you and would keep the Pesach of Yahuah, let all his males be circumcised, which means he's in the covenant. They have to be in agreement, right? And then they may come near and keep it, and he shall be as a native of the land. But no uncircumcised person shall eat of it. Now, that you could be circumcised and uncircumcised at the same time. You know that, huh? Okay. So we want to see how can we tell the difference between a person who might be physically circumcised, but their heart ain't right. Huh? What you got, Aki? Got a mic. Get him a mic because he had a question.
Aki, I'll just say, far as the Pesach, it remind me of a new year too. Get right for all the other feast days.
Yeah. Now we just came out of what was the last feast that we did? Sukkot. So what was the week before that? What was the time the Shabbat before that? Atonement. What was the purpose of atonement? So between that time and this time, so now we got another opportunity. Like you said, a new year, new beginning, right? So, but no uncircumcised person shall eat it. And there should be one law for the native and for the stranger who sojourn. Now, this is important, right? The stranger. Yahuah says, all right, Leviticus 19:33, when a stranger sojourns with you in the land, you shall not do him wrong. You shall treat that stranger who sojourns with you as the native among you, and you will love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Mizraim. I'm Yahuah Eloheka. Psalms 144, 146:9. Yahuah watches over the sojourner. That's the same word. He watches over the sojourner. He holds the widow and the fatherless, but the way of the wicked he brings to ruin. Because he requires his people to have hospitality. He judges us on our hospitality. That shows our real heart and intention, right? Okay. So this statute is connected to the covenant, and unless you meet the conditions of the covenant, you can't eat. All right, you can't eat. Genesis 17:9-14. And Yahuah Elohim said to Abraham, and this is the covenant he made with him, as for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your offsprings after you throughout their generations. This is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and your offsprings after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall be circumcised in where? In your flesh of your foreskins. And it shall be what? It shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you, right? And he who is 8 days old among you shall be circumcised, every male throughout your generations, whether born in the house or bought with money from any foreigner who is not of your offspring. Both he who is born in your house and he who is bought with the money, you shall surely circumcise. So shall my covenant be in where? Your flesh, as a what? As an everlasting covenant. Any uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. That's serious business, ain't it? Did Yahuah change his mind about this? Can we go somewhere in in the scriptures anywhere, or even in the writings, that would change what he has already put down? All right. So I got a question. Is there a shedding? Is there blood shed during the circumcision? Oh, there's some agreement there. Okay. Was there blood required at the Pesach? What did it have to do with the blood, with the Pesach? It had to apply to the door. It became a sign, a mark, a symbol, right? So in order for all the males to be in compliance with this covenant, they had to be in agreement to shed a little blood. Huh? Yes, those of us that come in, we already circumcised. We've done when we was children, and then there's some that come in that weren't. And they go, at first they might be like, I don't know about this circumcision stuff, but as their heart begin to get circumcised. For those that are already circumcised, it's the reverse. Their heart needs to be circumcised, right? Whether they're free or servants. All right. So what about the females? What happened to the women? Anybody wants to take a stab at that? I say, if the males are required to the compliance of this covenant, what about the females? No? Oh, we'll keep going. Don't worry. I know I'm cooking with grease here. All right. I want you to say something. Just note, just as blood was applied to the doorpost, protected, marked, and sealed everyone inside, so did the covenant of circumcision cover all under Abraham's authority. You catch that? You catch that? So for sisters, women have the same requirement as from the beginning. As long as you are submitting under whose authority, you're covered. So what did that mean? What was from the beginning? What did he tell the Isha? Nobody want to answer that? Huh? He said he told Adam, because Adam got in trouble, right? And he reestablished, said, hey, what are you supposed to do? He's supposed to govern. Namana? Okay, now. Go ahead.
Namana.
Submit.
Go ahead, Namana.
Namana? Mike, okay, I don't hear anything. All right. So I know the question becomes, all right, so let's go see what Sarah did. 1 Peter 3, 1-6. Likewise, wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that even if someone do not obey, if some don't obey the word, they may be won without a word by their conduct of their wives, when they see your respectful and pure conduct. Do not let the adorning of external, the braiding of the hair and the putting on of jewelry and the clothes you wear, but let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart. Now, here he comes. This has always been about the heart, because this is his heart. You sisters are very special to him. I told you, men and women are not equal. There's things he do for the women that he don't do for the men. Women got more privilege than we do. And you need to recognize that, so that he's looking for virtuous wives. So he said, with this imperishable beauty of gentle and a quiet spirit, which is Elohim, which is precious in Elohim's sight, very precious. This is what he's looking for. He's looking at your heart. He's looking at how you respond. Are you willing to submit to his authority? If you're looking at your husband as, I ain't submitting to that joker, you're saying that to Yahuah. That's who you're saying it to. I don't care what he say. You're saying that to Yahuah. And as soon as he understands that, he ain't got to raise his voice no more. He ain't got to get out the pocket. He ain't got to say nothing. He said, oh, okay. Especially when he's just trying to follow Yahuah's instructions. All right. So for this is how the set apart women who hoped in Elohim used to adorn themselves by submitting to their own husbands. As Sarah obeyed Abraham and called him Adon, and you are her children if you do good and do not fear anything that is frightening. You know, she's seen some things. Abraham just picking up and moving. Ain't saying nothing. Come on, baby, let's go. And she's like, what? You're just uprooting me and just moving me all over the country. Can't we just find a place to stop? You're moving me here, you're moving me there. It's a family, you're telling me go over here. Trust me, baby. Just let them tell you you're my sister. All right? Because they're going to kill me if you don't. All right? I mean, that's what we said. Just trust that Yahuah knows what he's doing. That's hard to do. Somebody said, well, I don't have a husband. All right? I'm a girl. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, for this is the first commandment with promise. My mother and father are dead. I ain't got no husband. Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls as those who will have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that would be no advantage to you. He said, remember those leaders who spoke to you the word of Elohim. Consider the outcome of their ways. Now, if you see him living raggedy, then you don't have to follow a raggedy leader. Not a man of his word, because everything a man says he has to do. That's one of the things Yahuah put out there. A woman can say something, a husband can say, no, you're not, and Yahuah says, forgiven. But if a man says something, he got to keep his word. He might not do it that, he got to keep it. Somewhere along that time, he got to keep that vow. He got to keep them words, right? Oh, I'm just a bond servant. I'm an employee. I just work for this person, He said, bond servants, obey your earthly masters with fear and with trembling and with sincere of heart. Here we go with that heart again, right? As you would Mashiach, not by the way of eye service as people pleasers, but also bond servants of Mashiach, doing the will of Elohim from the heart, rendering service with a good will as to Eloah and not man. He got us covered everywhere. So like I said, all you got to do is submit to Yahuwah's authority, you covered. Circumcision, therefore, the foreskin of your heart, and be no longer stubborn. Be no longer stubborn. The covenant requires both. You can't just have one without the other. So you come in here talking about, oh, I'm circumcised already, I'm good. No, because what you're turning into is a religion. It becomes a religious thing for you. You just going to church all over again, taking communion, going through rituals. So you have to have a circumcised heart. That's why I say everything we do, you have to learn how to apply it to you, right? So here we have an example of this, of us, our ancestors, and what they did. Ezekiel 44:6 says, and say to the rebellious house, to the house of Israel, thus say Adon Yahuah, O house of Israel, enough of all your abominations, admitting foreigners, uncircumcised in heart and flesh. They don't believe nothing you do. You got them in there working in the temple, holding services, praying over people, doing the work that you're supposed to be doing. Uncircumcised in heart and in the flesh, to be in my sanctuary, profaning my temple. When you offer to me my food, the fat and the blood, you have broken my covenant. In addition to all your abominations, on top of everything you already did. And you have not kept charge of my set apart things, but you have set others to keep charge for them in my sanctuary. Thus says Adon Yahuah, no foreigners uncircumcised in heart and flesh. All of the foreigners who are among the people of Israel shall enter my sanctuary. They're not going to do it. No foreigner with uncircumcised heart and flesh. So you got to have both. This is an example of showing you got to have both. Why? All right. One of the signs of someone not circumcised is, what's one of the signs? Someone not being circumcised in heart. Question? I mean, no? I'll let you. No? Okay. Let's go. Acts 7:51. You stiff-necked people, uncircumcised in hearts and ears. Can't even hear. You are forever opposing the set-apart Ruach, just as your ancestors used to. Heart ain't right. Oh, you're looking good, but your heart ain't right. And you can tell because every time the word says something, you got something to say. I don't quite agree with that. I don't see it that way. I don't believe it's done that way. I got another way of seeing it. Where the Father hadn't spoken to me that he told me. I mean, there's no private interpretation, right? I'm just putting this out here. You ain't got to believe nothing I'm saying. For the mind that is set on the flesh is hostile to Elohim, this is Romans 8:7. For it does not submit to Elohim's law. Indeed, it cannot. Those who are in the flesh cannot please Elohim. If you're just constantly worried about the things down here and how you look, how you're being perceived, and who is telling you in his word what to do, you're saying, I don't need to be circumcised. I don't need to be. Paul said, if I do that, I've made Shiach none effect. That's not what he was saying. That's not what he was saying. He said, if you find yourself arguing against the instruction of the Elohim, you might not be circumcised, even though your flesh is. So this is a time that we're reviewing ourselves. So we get into some stuff in a minute here. All right. Covenant requires both. Romans 4:9. Is this blessing then only for the circumcised or also for the uncircumcised? This Mashiach, is this blessing only for the circumcised or also for the uncircumcised? This is a question that Paul was dealing with, Shaul was dealing with. For we say that faith was accounted to Abraham as righteousness. How then was it accounted to him? Was it before or after he hadn't been circumcised? We all know the answer to that, right? It was accounted to him before, right? Before. It was not after, but before he was circumcised, right? He began to follow Yahuah's instructions. And that was the proof that his heart was being circumcised. When you begin to follow and do the instructions of Yahuah, that's how you know your heart is being circumcised. If you just come in thinking I can just cut the foreskin off and I'm good, no. If you're doing that before you even know that instruction, if you're doing his will before you know his instructions, and you realize, oh, wait a minute. And then he received the sign of the circumcision as a seal of righteousness that he had by faith while he was still uncircumcised. There's many people like that. They started coming into the knowledge of the truth, and as they come to the knowledge of truth, and they come to the instruction, and they say, I want to be pleasing in my Father's sight, and they read the covenant, and they say, oh man, I can't keep the Pesach because I'm not circumcised, right? Then they say, well, I need to know more about this. But they're not going to violate the instruction. I'm not going to say, well, he knows my heart. So I'm going to go anyway. Who's going to check it? I don't need to know. But Yahuah does. And it's going on record. And when you get before him and you thought you got away with something, he's going to open the books on you. And you're going to give an account for what you did. All right. The purpose was to make him the father of all who believe without being circumcised, so that righteousness would be counted to them as well, and to make him the father of the uncircumcised, who are not merely circumcised, but who also walk in the footsteps of the faith of our father Abraham before he was circumcised. All right. So a circumcised heart is evident by obedience. If you are willing and obedient, right? Philippians 3:3. We who are the circumcision. Now, this is Shaul. He's calling himself identifying with the circumcision. He say, who worship by the Ruach of Elohim and esteem in Yahuah, Yahushua, and put no confidence in the flesh. We don't boast. And because, oh, I'm native born. We Israel, like we got something above somebody. We in captivity. Huh? We can't hardly get together on any little detail. We're in captivity. So we don't have no place to be boasting. Our hope is in Mashiach too. He said, here's another example, Romans 2:28. For no one is a Yahudi who is merely one outwardly, nor is circumcision outwardly and physical, but a Yahudi is one inwardly, and circumcision is a matter of the heart by the spirit, not by the letter. This praise is not from man, but from Elohim. If you are not circumcised, if you are circumcised in the heart towards Yahuah, you're going to agree with his terms. So before you even come into Pesach, before you keep your first feast ever, before you just came into the knowledge of the truth, take your time and learn what the covenant says. Don't just get excited and want to jump in with both feet. And then once you come up against something that you didn't know was in there, it's challenging your ruach, it's challenging your mind, it's challenging your thought life, and now you want to back away. It's getting tough. You don't like people who back up. You don't put your hand to the plow. Some people done started teaching, and then they say, oh, wait a minute. Now you done took your hands off the plow. You know, you start backing up. You don't want no cowards. You said yes, you said yes. You want you to say yes with a full understanding what you're saying yes to. And I don't care how hard it get, don't give up. I don't care how hard it get. His favor is sufficient. You can do all things through Mashiach. The things that he endured. We're going to keep going. All right. Removing the leaven. All right, we know about the Seor and the Kamats. Who can tell me what you just learned? Who is Seor again? I need somebody who just learned it. Anybody? Nobody? Everybody, why is everybody so camera shy? Nobody else say that? Everybody gets so quiet. All right. He said, on the first day you shall remove leaven from your house. I keep things very practical. I know some people have been working for months. But when you go home tonight, start double checking, right? Start double checking your house. Because he said on this first day, you remove this leaven from your house, Seor. And then if anyone eats what is leaven, you're removing it because you don't want to accidentally eat it. You're getting rid of it. You're putting it out of there because you don't want to actually put that ketchup on your hand. And you got unleavened burger on your unleavened burger, which is 2 pieces of unleavened bread and a piece of meat in between them. Yeah. You don't accidentally, oh, I got some caramel. This may taste good with a little ketchup on. A little something, put your little mixture together. Oh, man. Because it says, the person that eats it shall be cut off. Now, is this about eating leaven? What does this really mean, removing the leaven? You want to say something out? There you go. Here you go. What is this about? I'm gonna go into it.
Leaven, I believe it's more. It's about your soul. It's about cleansing yourself and removing things that the Most High doesn't want there, so that He can replace it with His things.
You know, I think if I ask the question, what kind of leaven you got in your life? I mean, really, right? Removing the leaven. So what does leaven do naturally? We just learned that, right? Swell. We talked about confliction, quarreling, right? So it sours. it causes bitterness. Do you have something in you that sours and causes bitterness and causes you to puff up? Are you still carrying around animosity towards a brother or a sister? Are you still sour? See, during this week, we got to put all that away. And not just for this week, but it's something, if you've been doing this a while, after a while, things don't really bother you as much anymore. You begin to know things. You begin to understand some things. You begin to understand your brother and your sister. Now, when they rub up against you, you don't get sour. And sometimes you get sour because you perceive that they did something that you just didn't understand. And then you say, well, I thought they were saved. Right? I thought they were saved, but what about you? During this week, we don't want this. We want to put this away. That thought comes up. No, I'm not saying nothing. You attempted to say, so-and-so did. So-and-so said. No, I don't want that even in my ears. We're putting away leaven. Putting away leaven. Things that puff us up, cause us pride in us. They didn't call my name. They didn't recognize my hard work and effort. They didn't say nothing to me. They just bypassed me. They act like I'm not there. Things that would cause division among the brethren. Things that Yahuah hates. This is what we're putting away. This is why I'm saying this is the examining ourselves. This is leaven. Right? So spiritually speaking, for 7 days, we should focus on actively removing those things that cause us to be sour towards one another, that cause us to be bitterness towards each other, and those things that cause pride and arrogance, that cause confusion and quarreling. When you see it arise, you got to be able to recognize, do you have an anger problem? Do you quick to perceive somebody says something sideways to you and you're ready to check them? You don't know me. Well, this week, and put it away. You know what I'm saying? You got to recognize that's the whole part of growth, maturity. Put it away. Put this leaven away. Because you let it stay there, guess what it does? It multiplies and grows and grows and grows. It's not the good leaven. It's that old man. It's that old creation. I'm holding on to this. I'm holding on. So this is what we're working on. We each of us have something. Don't act like you ain't got nothing. You don't want to tell nobody. You just pray for the Most High don't shine no spotlight on you and expose it. Could you handle it though? Could you handle Yahuah exposing your dirt? Would you shrink up and crawl into a hole and don't want to be seen no more? Or would you just sit there and be humble, eat that bread of affliction? Nah. He done put me out in Front Street. Everybody know my business. I'm still coming. I'm still holding on, yeah. I still believe. I thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for being patient with me. You know what I'm saying? I can't look at you sideways because if he exposed me, oh my. So we always have compassion one towards the other, understanding one towards the other. I'm trying to get there, you're trying to get there, and we're working together. That's why there's some things he tells us, right? We keep going. All right. Deuteronomy 6:33. You shall not eat no leavened bread within it. You shall eat no leavened bread within it. 7 days you shall eat it with unleavened bread, the bread of affliction. We just talked about it. That's why I brought that there. Then he tells us, Shaul tells us, cleanse out the old leaven that you may be a what? A new lump. It's supposed to be a new creation. I want to do some things we're going to think about here in a minute. As you are really are unleavened. Why? Why are we unleavened? He said, you know you really are unleavened. Why? Because Mashiach made it so. For Mashiach, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed for us. Let us therefore celebrate this festival, not with the old leaven. Leaven of what? Malice and evil. In other words, doing people dirty. Talking about people behind their back. Dragging. Just want to automatically go. You want to think bad about everything, not positive. Let's put that away. But with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. Leviticus 19, 16, 18. You shall not go around as a slanderer among your people. You shall not stand up against the life of your neighbor. I am Yahuah. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall reason frankly. You shall reason frankly with your neighbor, lest you incur sin because of him. If you see me doing wrong and you just say, well, that's him, sin's on you too. You just sinned. That's how easy it happens. You see me going out with this other man's woman. I should be dead. Huh? I should be gone. I said, well, that's him. You see me defrauding my brother or my sister. Man, you don't tell me, man, you shouldn't be doing that. This is why. Right? Because if you get called as a witness, you got to testify. You can't say, well, I don't know nothing about it. My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. All right. All right. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the sons of your own people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahuah. As we're going through this week and we're dealing with one another, keep all this in mind. If anyone says, I love Elohim and hates his brother, he's a what? A liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he has seen, cannot love Elohim who has not seen. You loving me is loving Yahuah. Me loving you is loving Yahuah. Us loving Yahuah is what? Keeping his commandments. Simple. Simple equation. And this commandment we have from him. Whoever so loves Elohim must also love his brother. Yochanan 13. A new commandment. He said, I'm renewing this. I'm letting you know, I'm bringing it up again since y'all might have forgot. All right. A new commandment I'm giving you. It's Mashiach. That you love one another just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another. And he said, this is how you identify. By this, all people will know that you are my Talmudim, my disciple. If you have love one for the other. But if they're always seeing us talking dirty about each other, ain't got nothing positive to say, nothing about none of your brothers and sisters. And I don't care if you know them or not out there, whoever they in the camps. I know sometimes they be saying some things that get under your skin. Just keep praying for them. Check them when you can. You got a lot of brothers that do that. They talk with other people and try to correct them, try to put them on the right path, try to put the word in front of them, you know. But that's your responsibility. They're trying to keep covenant too, right? All right, here's some things to consider. We're going to wrap it up. Oh, we almost done. We're getting that time. From now on, therefore, we regard no one according to the flesh. Even though we once regarded Mashiach according to the flesh, he was alive, he walked on earth, we regard him no longer as in walking in the flesh, because now he is in each one of us, not us. He's in us. Therefore, if anyone is in Mashiach, he's a what? New creation. The old has passed away. So when you get upset, tell yourself that. I'm a new creation. I'm a new creation. You know, you might have to, give me a minute. I'm a new creation. Then I got, I'm a new creation. You know, they might not even understand what you're talking about. I'm a new creation. Colossians 3:1. If then you have been raised with Mashiach, seek the things that are above, where Mashiach is seated on the right hand of Elohim. Set your mind on things that are above, not on the things on this earth. These things perish. For you have died, and your life is hid with Mashiach in Elohim. When Mashiach, who is your life, appears, then you will appear with him in his esteem, right? So he said, put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you, your sensual immorality, impurity, passions, evil desires, covetousness, and all these things are considered idolatry. Think on that. These are the things you bring to your mind when you feel like that old man is rising. I'm a new creation. I'm going to think about the things of Mashiach. He is my life. Then what? I'm going to remind myself. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin? Should I continue in the behavior that's plaguing me during this week? And during the rest of my walk? No. We are not to continue in sin that favor may abound. No, by no means. How can we who died to sin still live therein? Do you not know that all of us who have been immersed into Mashiach Yahushua was immersed into his death? We are buried, therefore, with him in immersion to death. Everybody been immersed? Who hasn't been immersed? Nobody yet? You can be on. Okay, we get you. All right. In order that, just as Mashiach was raised from the dead, by the esteem of the Father, we too might walk in the newness of life. I'm a new creation. Yahushua is my life. I'm going to walk in the newness of life. These are the things that we're saying. As soon as you say, oh, you feel like something coming on you because a sister or brother done did something. They done rubbed you the wrong way. Hold my tongue. I'm a new creation. I'm not going to let this thing root in me. I'm getting rid of this leaven. And that's how we should live our life. Let's keep going. Closing. Here we go. Therefore, prepare your minds for action, and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the favor that will be brought to you at the revelation of Yahushua Mashiach as obedient children. Do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance. But as he who has called you is set apart, so also be set apart in all your conduct. We can't get around this. You say, since it is written, you shall be set apart, for I am set apart, right? And if you call on him as Father who judges impartially, according to each one's deed, conduct yourself with fear throughout the time of your what? Exile. Right? Knowing that you are ransomed from the fruitful ways inherited from your forefathers, right? The things our forefathers did, the things we inherited, he's ransomed us for that. Not with the perishable things such as silver and gold, but the precious blood of Mashiach, like that of a lamb without blemish or spot. He was foreknown before the foundation of the world, but was made manifest in the last times for your sake, or they will say for the sake of you, who through him are believers in Elohim. That's us. That's me, who raised him from the dead and gave him esteem, so that your faith and hope are in Elohim. Having purified your souls by your what? To the what? What is truth? His word is true. His righteousness is what? An everlasting righteousness. And our law is what? His truth. All right. You've been obedience to the truth for the sincerity of brotherly love. Love one another earnestly from a pure heart, since you have been born again, not of perishable seed, but imperishable, through the living and abiding word of Elohim. And my last little piece here. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight, right? And sin, which clings so closely. When you look at that word, cling so closely, It's Maury Kanan's words, easily distracted. That's what it is. The sin that so easily distracts us. Lay that stuff aside. This week, that's what we're doing. Removing that leaven. We don't even want to partake in it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want it coming out of my mouth. When you see it coming, you have control. You don't have to say it. You couldn't say, I just couldn't help myself. Let that thing go. And then run this race. Run with endurance the race that is set before us. And with that, we're getting ready to go into the memorial of Pesach. And I know they're getting prepared back there. Where's my sister? She was going to sing one song while we're getting prepared. All right. So with that, are there any questions? Oh, yeah. No. All right. So everybody's going to take their seats and we're going to do the memorial together. You're going to pass out